Okay, I thought I'd read you guys people because some people are kind of disagreeing with me and arguing with me because they're not understanding or listening to what I said. When I showed my example of my truck idling, how long did it take? It took roughly just about a minute for the high idle to do its thing and that. But here we go. Modern education. Some education from today's modern, up to date books on diesels. Modern diesel engines are equipped with an advanced engine management system that automatically adjusts the air fuel mixture during cold start. This process raises the idle speed slightly for about 30 seconds to 1 minute depending on the engine's ambient temperature. This cold idle phase is critical for ensuring optimal combustion. Proper air fuel mixture and higher idle speeds help achieve a more complete combustion during the warm up phase. Protecting the diesel particulate filter. Allowing the cold idle phase helps prevent excessive unburnt fuel from entering the DPF system, which could lead to a clogged or more frequent regenerations of the DPF system and particulate filter system. Okay. Do not extend the idle beyond this period. Okay? After the cold idle does it, it goes up, then it turns itself off. When it kicks off, you no longer idle. You could turn the vehicle off if you're not going to drive away or drive away. But don't leave it sit idle because now it's no longer high idling. It's running at its normal idling with its normal air fuel mixture. That's where this soot comes from while building it up. Okay. And this is coming from modern education. Okay. And, well, that's the thing. For optimal combustion, the cylinders and the coolant for the engine to be safely operated in cold weather and cold climates must reach 40 to 60 degrees Celsius or 104 to 104 Fahrenheit before applying heavy loads. Okay? What are the risks of just starting it and jumping in and driving away without allowing it to do the cold idle warm-up? Increased wear on engine components, oil flow delays and oil pressure imbalances, uneven expansion of engine components like piston ring, cylinders, and bearings. If you just go and put gas, things aren't going to heat up evenly, aren't going to heat up properly. When you bring that RPM up, now you're adding extra friction to other parts, and it's not warming up properly. So you can end up cracking a head, cracking a block, damaging your piston rings. Not only that, if you don't allow it to do the high idle, you just hop in and go, it doesn't kick into the idle. So now you're dumping excess fuel that's not being burnt properly for the first 30 seconds to 1 minute of your drive. That unburnt fuel is going into your particulate filter, which is going to clog it up and do more damage. And the high idle is designed to minimize the amount of soot, carbon, and debris that goes into the particulate filter. And this is for cold weather, like we're talking below -10. Below -10, this is what's going to save your diesel truck. Okay, but not only that, this could also, by not allowing it to perform the high idle, the cold idle properly, could damage the turbocharger, poor combustion efficiency, and none of that. It could also eventually cause increased fuel consumption, and also engine overload. Have you ever heard of a thing called overload? The best practice is if you start your vehicle, wait for a couple seconds. If it high idles, that means the ambient temperature of the engine is not sufficient enough for that engine to operate properly and efficiently. So it will kick into high idle, and you'll hear it rev up, and then when it's warm, which usually takes 30 seconds to 1 minute, it will turn off. When it turns off, that's when you can go. But none of that, in that 30 seconds to 1 minute, your coolant temperature is at a temperature that's going to make sure your windows are defrogged and defrosted properly. And that like I said, your breath in a cold vehicle can cause the windows to fog up, which creates an issue with vision. But not only that, if you start your diesel and you start driving away and you got this big cloud of white smoke going behind you, that's unburnt fuel. That's unburnt fuel, and that smell is going into the people behind you, and it's also causing more pollution than what you would have had you just let it idle and warm up properly. Okay? I'm not telling you that it's okay to leave your vehicle idle for 5 minutes or 4 hours. I'm telling you that all modern diesels have a cold idle that will automatically kick in and automatically kick off. And that's how you do it. I have seen so many vehicles over my years, diesel engines, modern diesels, like for example, not too long ago, like last winter, we had a couple Fords and a couple Dodges where these guys would just start it up, hop in, drive away. One had bent rods and two had blown rings because it just wasn't warming up properly. Like, that's the thing. You need to understand how the vehicle works and how the electronics works and how it's designed. Now, I'm not saying, oh, just let it idle. But these vehicles are equipped with a cold idle for a reason. And the manufacturers will tell you this. It's even in the manual of your vehicle that you bought your diesel vehicle. This is a real thing. Every diesel has a cold idle. And not allowing that cold idle to cycle properly could result in more damage than you normally would if you just let it idle. Like, these systems were built in for a reason. But like I said, it's for more extreme cold weathers, like below -10. That you're going to need. Now, if you're at like 0 or -5 or that's really not cold enough. The engine will warm up more like efficiently just enough. But if it's cold out there, like -10, -20, -30, you just start that truck and start driving, you take a chance of actually doing more damage. And that's the honest truth, and that's the honest fact. I read you right out of the Canadian Diesel Education Guidelines and updates. Like, it's real. I've done the courses, I've studied the technologies, I've studied the systems. I've learned, I've kept up to date with technology. Okay, I'm not BSing you or bullshitting you or that. There's a lot of people out there that think they're mechanics, think they're diesel mechanics, but they're not. They don't read the research. They don't read the documentation. Like, no, I am not telling you it's okay to idle your vehicle. And for excessive periods, no. No vehicle should be idling for an excessive period. But diesel engines, when it's extremely cold out, they have a system built into it that is called a cold idle start. That's the truth.